Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Friday, April the 18th, 2025. Today is day 5 of our life cycle of a chicken unit. We have 16 days left before hatching. Let's begin with a review. Day 1, we learned 3 vocabulary words. See if you can remember what these are. What is an incubator? Pause the video in between these words and see if you can remember what these juicy vocabulary words are, what you've learned so far. What is an incubator? What is a chicken? What is an egg? Look what happened on day 1. The head, brain, and eyes began to form. Let's look at day 2. Do you remember the difference between a female chicken and a male chicken? That's very important for what's happening today on day 5. So talk about that for just a minute. Pause the video. The first verb that we had was to observe, meaning to watch carefully. We learned that the earliest stages of development is called an embryo. The second verb we learned was to rotate. This was on day 3. The beak, wings, and legs began to form. On day 4, which was yesterday, we had something very wet happening. Do you remember what that was? The tongue begins to form. See if you can remember what nest is and what we learned about how they make a nest in the coop in a domesticated environment as a pet. And then the life cycle of a chicken. And then today we are on day 5. So let's take a look at day 5. We have another verb, to roost. When you are roosting, it is when you are sitting on the eggs or when you are sleeping at them on something at night. So chickens naturally do not want to sleep on the ground. So what they'll do is it's a predator instinct. They want to get away from predators, is they will either fly up in the trees at night, or if you have a coop, you might have a ladder for them to walk up, and they'll sit up on a bar at night and roost on that bar. So that we can call it, it's a multi-meaning word, roost. We can either call it when they're sleeping on a bar, we call that roosting, or when they are sitting on the eggs, we call that roosting. Clutch is a noun, which is a person, place, or thing, right? And a clutch is what we call the group of eggs together in a nest. Remember yesterday we talked about how different breeds come up in the same nesting box and lay different eggs. So these are all from different chickens, but at some point, one of the hens will claim the clutch of chickens as hers. She will become broody and she will sit on them until they hatch. Now, how long is that? How long is the life cycle of a chicken? See if you remember. 21 days. Today is day 5, which is a super important day. Today is the day that the embryo becomes male or female. Now, what we're going to do today, I'm super excited about this, is going to be our first day to candle an egg. So I'm going to turn the lights off. I'll tell you what, let me go back and turn these off as well, because the darker we can make it, the better. So I'm going to turn off this lamp. I'm going to shut down the board a little bit and leave us in the dark. And that way, when we get this out, when we get out one of our eggs, we'll be able to see a little bit better, okay? I'm going to see if I can prop the camera up right here for just a minute. I'll keep talking to you. All right, hopefully that will work. And let me get out one. I'm going to start with a couple of the lighter colored eggs because they're a little bit easier to see through than the dark brown and the pink and the green ones. So I'm going to get out a few of these. I started looking at them yesterday afternoon and I'm separating them out. We do have to discard the eggs that do not have embryos in them. So what I'm doing right now is pulling out a few of the lighter colored ones. I'll pick back up the camera and we'll look at some of them together, okay? Let's turn the candler on. These are the eggs we're going to look at this morning. They're all lighter colored brown eggs. So let's take a look. Do you see what we're looking for? There's some telltale signs. First, we're looking for a black dot. Do you see a black dot inside the egg? Do you see it right there? That black dot is the chicken's eye. Do you see the red lines coming out of where the embryo is? Those are the blood vessels. This is the blood system inside the egg. So what we're looking for is we need to determine, does this egg have an embryo inside? It obviously does, doesn't it? Look how big it is already. Isn't that amazing? And then as we continue to rotate the egg, we're going to be looking for other signs of life. So what we want to see are blood vessels. Eventually what we're going to see is a good air sac, a pocket of air down at one of the ends. There it is. Let me put this one back and see if we can get one that we can see a little bit better. Let's try this one. I'll show you about the air sac that I'm talking about. So what we're looking for is signs of life. If we keep an egg in here that is not fertilized, I have made that mistake before. If we keep an egg in here that is not fertilized, it can explode. And when it does, it's awful smelling. So we want to make sure that after about day 9 or 10, we discard the ones that do not have an embryo growing. But you can see one growing here. You see all the blood vessel systems. This is that air sac I was talking about. It's a little pocket of air inside the egg for, remember we've talked just a little bit about how the chicken gets out. It is a long, hard, tedious process that takes about 24 hours. Once they start pipping and zipping, it takes almost a full day for them to get out of the shell. And while they're in there trying to get out, they need oxygen. So isn't that cool that every single thing that they need is supplied inside the egg, including this little pocket of air for them to breathe while they're working so hard to get out? Some of our classes here at Hogansville Elementary School are also following the life cycle of a caterpillar, and the way that a caterpillar becomes a butterfly and gets out of the cocoon is very similar to a chicken. It takes a lot of effort. It's a lot of muscle movement, and they're exhausted by the time they get out. But I just think it's the neatest thing that inside this tiny little eggshell is everything the embryo needs to survive. Do you see the life form? Do you see what we're looking for? Let's have a little check, a little self-check. Do you see a black dot? Check. Do you see an area where something is growing? Check. Do you see red blood vessels coming out from that area? Check. And then the last thing we're looking for, and some of them you can see it a lot better than others, is this pocket of air down here that the chicken is going to be able to breathe as he's trying to get out. Now, if we're looking at eggs, all of these are fertilized because I went through them yesterday. But if we're looking at an egg that is not fertilized, what you would see is just the yellow yolk, and it would bounce back and forth and back and forth. When we rotate the egg, it wouldn't stay put. See this dark area staying put? It would literally move back and forth. You would see this little yellow egg bounce back and forth. We would see no black dot, no blood vessels. So all of these have signs of life, and we want to continue to watch them over the next several days. It's so exciting when we get to this part of the process because the chicken is not too big. We're going to hit a point to where the chicken is kind of cramped up inside there and very tight. Now this one is one of the green ones. Let's see the difference looking through one that's a little bit darker. We're still looking for life. We're looking for a black dot. We're looking for blood vessels. We're looking for an air sac. It's a little bit harder to see on this one that's dark green, isn't it? Let's look really carefully, see if you guys see anything. All right, so we're going to continue this process. There he is right there. We're going to continue this process over the next few days to see how many eggs we have out of the 30 that are fertilized. We will have to be getting rid of some of them. So we will definitely not want to keep the ones in here that are not fertilized. Okay, today is day 5. We have 16 days left. How exciting!